he have a point here?
No, I don't think you have a point. I think you can't compare yourself to somebody else at the end of the day. The antics that he's pulled, nobody else has really pulled, going out and kicking the net, punching Gatorade bottles, whatever it may be. At the end of the day, we have to show our emotions, but at the same time, still be professional enough to not let our emotions get the best of us. We got to move on, no matter how he says, oh, I want to be out there, win or lose, draw. I want to make sure I finish the game. But, the organization is doing what they're supposed to do. They're protecting their players. You're already getting blown out 38-7. There's no reason to have you out there on the football field for you to try to patch your stats because you had 2 catches for 25 yards. You got to go out yourself and just go out and just be supportive of the guys that's out there, move on to next week, and see how we can get better.
I agree to a certain extent, but my thing is that when quarterbacks do it, it's viewed as passion. Wide receivers do it, they've been as divas. And the thing that I conveyed to Odell is that you have to understand there have been times that your actions were not about the betterment of the football team. It was about the betterment of Odell. And so it's hard for people to differentiate when you're trying to be passionate and trying to get your team motivated and when you're trying to be selfish and talk about, I'm not getting enough catches and I need the ball. And so you're asking people to try to weigh the two when they don't really know, when they've seen you do both things. And so, and I told him, I said, just like that catch, you're never going to be able to live that catch down. You're never going to be able to live what transpired in that Carolina game down. And so, Odell, you're going to have to, basically, you're going to have to walk a tightrope. And that's just the way it is. There's a double standard.
Definitely.
Whether you play professional sports, where you're in the job setting, it does not matter. Yes, there is a double standard. And the more accomplished you become, the more likely you'll be able to get away with certain things. Odell needs to understand that, because, Crow, I think you and I both understand that because we played the game. There's a double standard. But, Odell, you have to understand this. Until you're ultimately going to be judged by wins and losses. And you probably lost more than you won. And so people are not going to view you as favorably as they view the guy that's won more than he's lost in the guy that you brought up without mentioning his name, which is Tom Brady. But for me, Crow, this is how I look at it. Just because you win championships or you won a bunch of games, that does not mean you're beyond reproach. And I'm a firm believer. I'm a respect kind of guy. And I give what I want in return, which is respect. So I'm not going to get in your face yelling and screaming because I don't want you in my face yelling and screaming. I'm going to do my job to the best of my ability. Hopefully you do the same. But in Odell's
100%.
case, he does have a point to a certain degree, is that a lot of times that we view anything that a quarterback does as passion and anything a wide receiver or anybody else does as being diva-ish.
No, I mean, that's 100%, but you got to think about the answers that he was pulling on early on in his career.
Oh, yeah.
That's what everybody goes by.
Yes.
You're saying you're showing the passion of the game, you're doing this, but there's different ways that you can go about it. Everything he does, they're gonna put it through a microscope. So you got to carry yourself in a way to show your passion, but at the same time, don't let it be negative towards yourself. Don't let it be negative towards the organization or anything else. The whole thing, you want to move in a way and just be professional about everything that you're doing. You don't care about what you're doing, your antics or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not about you. It's about the organization and trying to get wins and get yourself in the playoffs to produce and go out and try to go win a championship every week.
Okay, so to your point, Mr. Sharp, I'm going to be more specific here. In general, the white fans and white media tend to condemn any antics or outbursts by especially black receivers as diva acts or selfish acts, while giving passes to white quarterbacks for their outbursts or their antics as passion for the game. Okay, I got it.
Perfect.
Yes.
Because here's the perfect. Let Cam had did the McCrinkleberry.
Okay.
Like Aaron Rodgers.
All right.
What would have been saying, Skip?
You got me. Correct. I am with you. But now back to Crow's point. Odell doesn't have any resume to fall back on. He's coming from a position of weakness because all of those outbursts when he was a Giant were mostly about him. I'm not getting enough catches, whatever. The game's going the wrong way for me, so I'm going to take it out on the kicking net or the Gatorade bottle or whatever it is. And I like Odell. I think his heart is in a good place. I just think his perspective is lost because when then you call into question the GOAT of quarterbacks, 6 Super Bowl championships, 9 Super Bowls, a playoff record of 30-11, while you, Odell, played in 1 playoff game and lost it, in part because you led your wide receivers down to South Beach for a day off to get ready for a playoff game, your first and only, on the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. And early in that game, you dropped a 3rd and 5 pass, and then in the second drive, you dropped a touchdown pass, and it contributed to a game that got completely out of hand in favor of Aaron Rodgers and company, 38-13. Okay, so when did Brady get criticized? And he does take his fair share of criticism. He read the riot act to his offensive line on the sideline at Chicago late in the 3rd quarter after a drive on which the offensive line committed 3 holding penalties. Mike Evans had an offensive push-off pass interference, and his center, Ryan Jensen, post-play after an 11-yard completion, headbutted a defender and got a 15-yard flag. All 5 of those fouls occurred on one drive that wound up in 4th and 27. And they were clinging to a 16-14 lead. And Brady, when he goes Psycho Tom on the sideline, it's all about, we got to win this game. It's really not about him. You can say part of it is, but it's about, we have to do this. We've got to be better than this. So they didn't respond that night, but then the next game they played was last Sunday against Green Bay, and they had 0 penalties with 0 turnovers and 0 sacks. Okay, did that contribute, his outburst on the sideline? Was that leadership, or was he being a diva quarterback? I would chalk it up to effective leadership.
Well, I think the thing is also that's working against Odell is that we've never seen Tom Brady kick a net. Now, if you want to bring the team over, if you want to say, look, guys, we got to play better. Offensive line, I need you to block better. Hey, wide receivers, my group, we need to get open quicker. We need to do things better. If you want to do that, I got no problem with it. But you can't conflate saying kicking a kicking net and throwing water bottles is the same thing as Tom Brady. I get it. But like Crow said earlier, some of your actions in which you've displayed in the Giants has followed you because that's what happens. Things that we've done in our past, that follows us for the rest of our life. Now, we can try to push it down and make it less, people don't bring it up as much, but until Odell starts to win, and until that happens, that we're going to always go back on that. And like you said again, Crow, at 38-7, what were you going to do? You going to get a couple more catches, and so now you got 4 catches for 38 yards? Bruh, it's not worth the risk because guess what? When a game like that, I see you still in the game, you trying to, well, now I got to try to get, hey, you know how guys are, Crow. Oh, you trying to pad your stats. You trying to make me look bad out here. The game over. Get out the game.
Look bad.
By the way, did you just go conflate on Undisputed? I've never heard. I'm impressed. I've never heard that word used uttered on this show.
Oh, my bad. Well, pad. Huh? You trying to pad your stats.
Okay.
And hey, Crow, hey, I know from being on the team and having defensive guy. If the game is out of hand, don't you bring your butt back in here trying to pad your stats.
So Crow, let me ask you, did you and Revis ever, as Jets, read the riot act to your other DBs about a broken coverage when you were on the sideline? Did you ever go off on teammates?
No. I was if it was a broken coverage because I looked at myself. I get pissed off with myself and go throw my helmet down from that standpoint. Yeah. But I go back and look at the film and just ask the coach, what did we do on this one and the call from this and make sure I get the call from everybody else. But it wasn't me getting on people. Me and Revis felt like, we was going to hold everybody accountable no matter what. And those guys want to play to a higher standard too. So it's like if we messed up, we had to come together and figure out what we was doing wrong. I mean, if you want to talk about a mishap, you're going to go back to that 45-3 game, 2010 versus the Patriots when we lost on that Monday night game. We didn't get nothing right. But we held each other accountable, just try to make sure we do the things that we try to do with no kicking, no fussing around. We had a lot of busted coverage. I think I had like 4 or 5 minute errors during that game, along with Revis and everybody else. But it was just a point of us coming together on the sideline and trying to regroup and do the things that we got to try to do for the next week because we was already blown out. It's nothing that we can do. Just get ready. Forget this game. and move on to the next one, because there's nothing we can do. We're not going to come back from 45-3 in the next 5 minutes, so who cares?
Okay, but what if you were supposed to have safety help and you trusted he was going to be there for you and it made you look bad because you got blown by?
I would always tell you this, Skip, and that's what I've always been told. As a corner, I never look for safety help. Never depended on him because of run pass read. You know, if he get drawn up, I got to play over the top of it no matter what. So I never was looking for a safety to be over the top, or I never wanted to go back and point the finger at nobody. I just wanted to get to the sideline and make adjustments to see what I did wrong or what was the communication on his part. That was
Shannon,
it.
I think I just asked the wrong guy because he and Revis are like, we got this.
Yeah, well,
right?
you have to, Skip. For me, I mean, I'm always asking if I got a block, okay, I need to know. Hey, Zim, are you helping me, T-Bone? Are you going to help me inside, or am I by myself? Because I'm going to sit differently. Now, I think the thing is, Crow, is that if you thinking, like, you know what, I'm going to play, you're not going to play, if you realize that you don't have any help, you're not going to play outside leverage on a corner. Now, if you think I might not have any help, you're going to try to take away the inside, because you're not going to give up the middle of the field to a wide receiver. So
No.
I'm anticipating if I got help, I'm not going to sit hard inside because I know I got a tackle right there. But if I got no help, I'm taking away the inside first. Now,
Another thing on top of that, Shannon, but the thing was, we always said what's good help and what's bad help.
right.
If we had a nickel or a safety to our side, that was good help. If we had a linebacker that was dropping, or a defense outside linebacker that was dropping, we considered that bad help. Not saying nothing that against them. It was just a point of we had more athletic guys on the back end that we know we can depend on rather than the front guys that never really drop. So when that happens, you got to play tighter coverage and understand where the ball's possible.